a small child laying on the road covered up with a white sheet, and it appears to be dead.
A baby boy less than 6 months old found dead and dismembered on a country road in Thompson Township.
Interviewing witnesses, looking for suspects, all the traditional methods had failed.
Police say DNA technology is what helped them.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing? Good. Any idea what we want to talk to you about?
There's that baby.
What about?
A baby that was there.
March 25th, 1993. Cheryl Jenkins and Wendy Sweeney went on their routine newspaper delivery in Thompson Township, Geauga County, Ohio. Little did they know this day would take a dark turn. As they drove past, their eyes caught a glimpse of something on the roadside, and for a fleeting moment, they believed it to be a doll. Driven by curiosity, they turned their pickup truck around, only to confront a chilling truth. It was not a doll lying there, but a human body. They immediately called the police. The lifeless infant boy was discovered stuffed into a garbage bag.
When I got there, it was obvious that this is a newborn baby that's laying in the middle of the road. It looked like there was a tire track over it, like somebody had driven down the road and actually ran it over.
His arm and leg absent, likely claimed by scavenging animals. A fragment of his umbilical cord lingered, a haunting reminder of the life that once was. Cheryl and Wendy were consumed by disbelief and anger at the thought of how anyone could perpetrate such a monstrous crime against an innocent child.
I don't know how anybody could do that. It's awful. Wish we could have found it alive. Just hope they find who did it. I hope they're punished. Because there are a lot of people out there that want babies. They could have gave it up for adoption or something.
In the early hours of their investigation, the detectives confronted the thought that the child's mother could have suffered a fate quite similar to her child's. This unsettling belief drove them to meticulously go through the dense woods, searching for any trace of evidence that could unravel the mystery. Yet their relentless pursuit yielded nothing but silence.
Any clothing, body parts, any kind of evidence that may have been left inadvertently at the scene by whoever left the baby here.
The detectives began to investigate the possibility that the baby's family member may have been responsible for the crime, as the body was subjected to an autopsy. On that fateful day, Geauga County Sheriff George Red Simmons stood before the cameras.
We have determined that the infant was a male. We have determined that the infant was Caucasian, and the body had suffered severe trauma and was missing limbs.
It's a crime so shocking it would forever change this community. For the first time, we show you never-before-seen video of the investigation.
And in a desperate appeal, he urged everyone to come forward and assist in uncovering the identity of the baby boy and deliver justice for the innocent victim.
Babies are very hard to identify, and we need information. Anyone who has any information that might help us identify this infant.
The investigation revealed that the infant was merely 1 to 3 days old. The coroner found that the baby had been born alive by floating a lung in water, which is a normal test. Yet, in further investigation, the true cause of death remained elusive. Additionally, it was not clear if the baby had already died when it was left, or had died from being out in the cold. The heartbreaking news of the infant's tragic fate sent shockwaves through the community of Northeast Ohio, leaving a profound impact on its residents. Despite not knowing the child personally, the community was devastated by the suspicion that he had been abandoned and possibly harmed by his own family. All they wanted was for justice to prevail. Meanwhile, law enforcement worked relentlessly, chasing every lead that might unveil the identity of the infant. The Geauga County Sheriff's Office appealed to the child's mother, extending a hand of support and guidance in hopes of preventing any further harm. Yet, no one stepped forward to assist. Deputies canvassed the neighborhoods, meticulously interviewing residents one by one. Law enforcement agencies across the state were alerted to investigate any reports concerning missing infants. In a meticulous effort to piece together the timeline, hospitals were approached to provide records of birth that occurred in the last 3 months, spanning several counties. Yet, the boy's origins lingered shrouded in enigma. In a desperate bid for answers, authorities set up a tip line and distributed flyers, seeking any shred of information that could illuminate the mystery. As the investigation unfolded, the community responded with a surge of tips. Among the calls were 2 from bus drivers, each recounting strange occurrences on their routes that fateful morning when the baby was discovered. Yet, at that moment, they were unable to confirm it as a human body.
Because it was hard to determine if it was a stuffed baby doll or like a little stuffed animal.
So I went down in it and I looked and, wait a minute, that's a baby. I thought, nah, that has to be a baby doll.
Amid these promising leads, investigators were unable to secure the concrete evidence they desperately sought. In a significant act of remembrance, the community named him Giaga's Child, a tribute to the county that would forever be linked to his story, providing a sense of belonging beyond time. In November 1993, months after the tragic events, the community gathered in solemn unity for a funeral at a local church. Approximately 130 individuals gathered to honor and bid farewell to the young soul who had deeply affected them.
This baby boy suffered at the hands of people who didn't care.
One wondered if perhaps the unknown parents of the baby boy were at the service.
At the funeral, detectives remained vigilant, anticipating that the somber gathering could unveil crucial leads. They anticipated that a family member could arrive, so they settled at the church parking lot. They recorded people who came to pay their respects in secret.
Today's date is November 13th, 1993. This is Deputy McGrath. We are conducting surveillance of all vehicles and/or people coming into the services for baby John Doe.
One side of the memorial headstone featured some heartfelt poems. It stated, "Giaga's child lies here now in safety. Just too late. Too late to save his life. Too late to make things right. But not too late to teach us all to love and cherish life." After being denied a family and life, the baby finally found a home in death. The child was laid to rest, but the case was not.
The case is still active. It'll remain active until it is solved.
In a chilling twist, investigators sought to unravel the mystery of Giaga's child by planting a camera at the gravesite. They hoped the intense scrutiny would provoke a sense of guilt in the parents, leading them to return and pay their respects. The camera captured every moment, month after month, year after year. Numerous individuals placed flowers, toys, and handmade garments at the gravesite, yet it offered no sense of closure. As the years unfolded, the investigators relentlessly chased every lead, ensuring no stone was left unturned. They meticulously investigated countless leads, including reaching out to schools to probe for any hidden underage pregnancies, yet their efforts yielded no results. Thomas Dewey, the lead homicide detective assigned to the case, dedicated himself fully to ensuring the investigation remained in the spotlight. A tip led investigators to Arizona, pursuing a lead on a man who had previously resided close to the location where Giaga's child was found.
You know, he had a girlfriend that was pregnant 5 months prior. There's no child afterwards, after this pregnancy. We thought we had it figured out, and then when we got the result.
Every path, regardless of its strangeness, was meticulously examined. Even the insights from Nancy Meyer, a psychic investigator, were taken into account.
So we'll roll some videotape for you now. I'm sure most of you remember this tragic situation, probably saw it on the news, one of those unsolved situations. Are you getting anything? Are you feeling anything here?
Very meek personality. She's no longer with the man that forced her into this. I think her big problem in coming forward is she feels that she would be arrested.
For more than 20 years, detectives waited, hoping to uncover whether Nancy's insights contained any truth. As the case remained cold, and unresolved. It wasn't until advances in DNA technology transformed the criminal court system that things changed dramatically. In 2005, Detective Dewey stepped away from his role at the sheriff's office. He had to separate himself from the research even though he visited the gravesite quite a bit. At this moment, Detective Don Seaman stepped into the case. In 2018, an important turning point came in the investigation. In gripping headlines, the nation was captivated by the major revelations in forensic genealogy, which cracked age-old mysteries, including the notorious Golden State Killer case. Seaman recognized the promise of this innovative technology in uncovering the truth behind Giaga's child.
So I approached our sheriff and the prosecutor with the thought of hopefully trying this new investigative technique.
And his big ask was, he says, listen, I think this is going to cost $5,000, and I'd like you and the sheriff to split it.
In September 2018, a pivotal moment unfolded as the process of submitting the preserved DNA commenced.
The Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner's Office had kept tooth buds, DNA from those tooth buds from the baby, and that DNA was suitable for comparison.
Experts agree that teeth serve as one of the most dependable sources of DNA evidence. The act of preserving such evidence was remarkably progressive for its era. With this piece of evidence, anticipation surged. In a significant breakthrough, investigators uncovered a crucial detail from the DNA analysis that could refine their search. The findings indicated that the baby was of Middle Eastern descent, with a strong possibility of Lebanese heritage. Yet, identifying the parents of the baby came as a daunting challenge. Approximately a month later, they faced yet another obstacle. Their search for enough close relatives to forward the research came up short in the lab they teamed with.
The hits that would come up initially were very distant, like third to fourth generation cousins.
They submitted the baby's DNA to GED Match, a public DNA comparison database popular among individuals interested in tracing their ancestry. In a relentless pursuit of truth, Detective Seaman and his dedicated team meticulously pieced together a complex family tree, including more than 1,400 individuals, all to uncover the origins of Giaga's child. These individuals emerged from diverse regions around the world, each representing a unique country. Their identities emerged from the DNA samples they willingly submitted to the online database, a crucial link in the revealing story. Ultimately, investigators succeeded in identifying the person whose DNA matched the evidence collected from the scene.
We did identify a family member very early on, who without him we would not be here today.
The investigation led them to a man named Vernon Holden residing in Omaha, Nebraska. The detectives contacted him without delay.
Hello?
Hello, is this Mr. Holden?
Yes.
Mr. Holden, my name is Don Seaman. We're all trying to do everything we can. So with your help, hopefully we can get closer to some closure for this.
I can help. I'll try to help.
All right. I really appreciate it.
In a twist of fate, it was revealed that Vernon, a third-generation cousin match of Giaga's child, had taken the significant step of submitting his father-in-law's DNA to the database. Vernon stepped forward to help construct a detailed family tree for his father-in-law, a choice that would ultimately become crucial in unraveling the mystery of a 26-year-old cold case. Before any significant developments could unfold, the investigation had to delve deeper into the leads uncovered from the family tree. A singular clue directed investigators to Sidley Road, the site where Giaga's child was found. An extended family member recounted a visit to her uncle and his pregnant girlfriend at that location during Thanksgiving in November 1992. In an unsettling twist, the baby never came into the world, leaving her in silence with no further news to follow.
We got some trash pulls. We got some DNA out of the trash, and he had a girlfriend that was pregnant at the time, no baby, and he was not the father. Another time that we thought we had it figured out, and we just didn't.
Detectives stayed calm, despite the setbacks, sure that every day they were getting closer to a riddle solved. Early in 2019, they discovered that Giaga's child was actually the granddaughter of one of the 10 siblings, but they still hadn't found a suitable match for the baby. In the quiet town of Lyndhurst, Ohio, approximately 30 miles from Geauga County, resided the sole surviving sibling, Harvey Eastwood. In a twist of fate, it was revealed that he had been adopted. Despite the slim chances, detectives decided to visit him.
Yes, sir. Hello, are you Harvey? Yes, I am. Harvey, my name is Don Seaman. I'm a detective with Geauga County Sheriff's Office. Just wanted to see if you'd be willing to talk to us.
Harvey was the father of 2 daughters, both of whom hailed from outside the local community. He was completely unaware of the existence of Geauga County. The detectives were initially skeptical about any connection between Geauga's child and him. After an hour of conversation with Harvey, just as they were preparing to depart, he revealed a shocking secret. He said that his grandchildren and children met their parents at camp.
Where was that at?
At Camp Koinonia.
What's it called?
Camp Koinonia.
The investigators, unaware of Camp Koinonia's existence, decided to delve deeper and conduct a search. It was revealed that the location was merely a mile from where the baby was discovered. Investigators turned to Harvey, probing into the personal lives of his daughters, inquiring if any had ventured into relationships with men of foreign descent.
Your son-in-laws, do they have any foreign descent?
Oh, Mark has Lebanese descendants.
Mark Ritchie was the husband of Harvey's older daughter, Gail. At the age of 49, Gail was in a seemingly perfect marriage, surrounded by the love of her 3 grown children. Faced with uncertainty, investigators gathered DNA samples from Harvey and his wife, Nancy. Days later, the results arrived, bringing with them a shocking revelation. Harvey and Nancy were confirmed as the grandparents of Geauga's child, a baby whose existence had remained a mystery to them until that moment. After 26 long years, the truth behind the identity of the parents of Geauga's child has finally come to light. Yet the final knot in this complex web of a murder mystery remained to be uncovered. Detectives arrived at Gail's residence in Euclid, Ohio, at an important point in the unfolding investigation. It was on May 21st, 2019, that the long-awaited moment arrived.
So we had kind of set up outside her house early in the morning. We saw her husband leave and go to work, Mark. We had set up a hidden camera in a coffee cup so we could record as we approached her.
Gail was in her garage getting ready for work as the investigators approached her.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing? Good. Listen, Geauga County Sheriff's Office.
We just wanted to see if we could talk to you for a couple of minutes.
Well, yeah.
Okay. You have any idea what we want to talk to you about? Because I kind of think you might.
Well, my parents said that you were at their house.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think that's about?
It was about a baby.
Yeah. What about?
A baby that was left.
This was the moment Geauga County detectives had been waiting for nearly 30 years. Despite their expectations, they gave Gail the benefit of the doubt and let her share her side of the story.
We're not here to judge you, Gail. We don't know what was going on at the time. We don't want to speculate either, okay? So I don't think you want us to speculate. We're not here to arrest you, okay? We are here to take your DNA, okay? And we would like for you to tell us your side of the story, because we'd like to know. As of right now, you're not under arrest. You're not going to be arrested today. But we want to know what was going on. I think after 26 years, it's time. Don't you? It's had to be weighing on you.
Should we go inside?
Gail's expression revealed a reluctance to engage in the discussion, yet the detectives offered her a sense of security, assuring her that she was not in any trouble. Eventually, she decided to reveal the secrets she had been keeping from the world for so long. However, before engaging in the discussion, the investigators had to establish with certainty that Gail was, in fact, the mother of Giaga's child, even though her statements indicated this connection.
Well, what we'd like to do is get your DNA, okay? And then we would like for you to come back to our sheriff's office so that we can talk. You're not being arrested. What this does is just collect some skin cells from each side of your mouth.
The investigators were taken aback by Gail's calm and composed manner. Unlike what they expected, she did not appear scared or cry as most people would in such a situation. They needed to figure out how Giaga's child ended up abandoned on the side of the road. Was Gail coerced into this action, or was it her own decision? And more importantly, why did it happen? After DNA swabs were collected, Gail was taken to Giaga County Sheriff's Office for questioning.
At the house, our intention is at this point not to arrest you. You're not under arrest, okay? And we would like to get your side of the story, though. You know, obviously you had indicated that your parents had told you that we had been out, so I'm sure that you kind of knew that this day was coming, that we were going to be coming out to talk to you.
Gail admitted to abandoning the baby and provided additional information about the incident. She revealed that in the summer of 1992, at the age of 22, she lived with her parents and younger sister while dating her future husband, Mark Ritchie, who was a few years her senior. She became pregnant with Mark's child that summer, but she was unaware of it until about 3 months before giving birth.
I did not know I was pregnant at the time. I still had my menstrual cycles. And then my menstrual cycles ended up stopping.
Okay.
I want to say about 3 months before the baby was actually born.
Okay.
And I honestly do not remember the date or the day when the baby was born. I do know it was in winter.
Even though Gail knew she was pregnant, she kept it a secret from everyone, including her family, friends from church, and even Mark, and she refused to seek help. She said that it was easy for her to hide the fact that she was pregnant because she weighed more than 200 pounds.
But you hadn't told anybody?
I had not. No one knew. The next thing I knew, I was giving birth to the baby in the toilet.
Gail continued her confession, recalling a day in March 1993 at a Shaker Heights home where she worked as a full-time nanny. While waiting for the children to return from school, she suddenly felt the urge to push. Gail, confused and overwhelmed, admitted she had no idea what to do and that the only option she saw was to dispose of the baby.
I didn't know what to do. The only thing I could think of was to put the baby in a bag.
After placing the baby in a bag and hiding it in the trunk of her car, she meticulously cleaned the bathroom, ensuring no evidence remained. After that, she took care of the kids for the rest of the day before going home. Days passed, perhaps a week, and Gail found herself at a church youth group event at Camp Koinonia, the baby still concealed in her trunk. She then traveled several miles to Thompson Township, where she left the baby behind.
I got in my car and just drove. I don't know where I ended up. And I just ended up stopping on a road. I don't know which road. And I took the bag out of the trunk. And I laid it in the woods.
Was anybody with you in the car?
No.
No.
I was by myself.
About how far off the road do you remember you went? Like with the bag? Like how far from the roadway you would have went? Or was there anything specific by there?
I remember stopping on the road. There was a lot of snow. I do remember a lot of snow. and I walked in as far as I could, and I left the back.
Gail found herself lost in the depths of the woods, the memory of how far she had gone to leave her child fading into the shadows. Detectives confronted her with the unsettling details from the coroner's report, indicating that her baby had been born alive.
And there had to be some type of screaming or something that you heard or saw.
It became increasingly clear that Gail had likely harbored intentions of leaving the baby behind from the very beginning.
I mean, did you intend on having the baby, or, I mean, what were your intentions? Should have kind of come unexpectedly that day, but it sounds like you had made your mind up that, you know, you weren't in the right spot at the time, you weren't telling anybody, this was kind of what you were planning on doing, for lack of better words.
I suppose.
In the chilling twist of fate, the most heartbreaking element of the story lies in the fact that after leaving her newborn baby behind, she chose to move forward, leaving the past in the shadows without a second thought.
Did you ever follow or read any stories or anything, you know, in the news, or seeing news clipping, you know, stories or anything like that about anything?
I did not.
No.
I did not know the baby was found.
Okay. At what point do you know that the baby was found? Was it recently? Was it a long time ago? Or
no, you were at my parents.
So that's the first time that you had known that the baby was found?
That a baby was found.
When asked why she chose not to share her fears with anyone, Gail revealed the deep-seated fear that held her back.
Was it because you were young, because you weren't married? You know, you're afraid to tell your parents? I understand you're Baptist.
I was definitely afraid to tell my parents. My father was very adamant about not having children before you're married. Yes, I was probably afraid that he would leave. I always go to the worst scenario and not the best scenario.
And what was the worst scenario in your mind?
Him leaving me.
Investigators found themselves questioning Mark's lack of awareness, particularly in light of Gail's desperate belief that getting rid of the baby was her sole path to retain her partner. As Gail faced relentless questioning at the Geauga County Sheriff's Office, a team of investigators made their way to Mark's residence, seeking answers of their own. He had no idea what was going on with his wife at that moment.
My other partner and I, we've been, for the last year, like I said, we've been trying to identify this baby in the family. So, obviously, from 1993, we've had DNA. We get DNA, we try it, no good. And eventually, we just ran out of places to go.
They closely detailed their investigation, revealing how complex family tree ultimately pointed them to Gail and Mark.
Today we met with Gail, and Gail said that our detectives that she's talked to today are the only two she's ever talked to about birthing a child in Shaker Heights, putting it into a garbage bag, and driving it to Geauga County. So
my wife said this?
Mm-hmm. So
that's news to me.
At some point in June of 1992, or roundabouts, you guys got together and had, she got pregnant. And for whatever reason, she kept it from you. And in March of 1993, she gave birth to that baby. And for whatever reason that we're still trying to figure out, she didn't tell anybody, and she left that baby in Geauga County.
Wow. I don't know what to say.
After nearly an hour of intense discussion, the detectives, convinced by Mark's apparent disbelief and ongoing insistence on the murder of Geauga's child, made their exit. In a chilling twist, Mark disclosed a truth. He knew of one of Gail's pregnancies. In a startling revelation, he asserted that the event took place before 1993, before the birth of Geauga's child. Mark disclosed that Gail subsequently told him about her tragic miscarriage. This raised the question of whether Gail was concealing any other secrets. Was Giaga's child the only one she left behind? As Gail sat in the dimly lit room, the detectives knew it was time to strip away the friendly words and confronted her with the hard truths. They informed her that her DNA would be logged into TIMECODES, the national repository designed for the collection and comparison of DNA profiles from multiple origins. This was her last chance to reveal the secrets she was hiding.
But you know and I know this isn't the only time. That there's more times that this has happened. And now is the time that you need to tell us about those, Gail. How many other times has this happened?
One other time.
One other time? And when was that? Was it before or after this child?
Before.
Before.
Gail's surprising confession revealed a chilling truth. Giaga's child was not her initial target, as another innocent life had tragically died to her deeds. In a chilling account, she disclosed that in 1991, at just 20 years old, she found herself in labor in Mark's rental house, located in Cuyahoga County, Ohio. She left this child in the exact same way she had with her second child.
He gave birth to it in the toilet.
Is that a boy or a girl?
I don't know.
You don't know.
And I never.
You didn't want to know?
I never looked.
Okay.
I don't know.
What happened after you gave birth to the child?
I did the same thing. Put it in a garbage bag.
And what did you do with the garbage bag?
I left it.
What do you mean you left it? What does that mean, Gail?
I took it and left it over by medical buildings in Euclid.
Where did you leave it exactly?
There's a road called Brush Road. It goes up behind very tall medical buildings that are there. And I just left it over in the tall grass.
Kind of like field area, you left in the tall grass?
Yeah.
Gail's apparent disregard for her children, who were cruelly denied the chance at life, left the detectives in a state of shock, despite their commitment to professionalism. For years, she returned to the same neighborhood where she had left Giaga's child alongside her other 3 children, appearing unaffected by her dark secret past. Gail's confession became a crucial turning point for the investigators. If she committed the same crime multiple times, it suggested an intention, not foolishness, as Gail claimed. In a surprising turn of events, Gail found herself permitted to return home, at least for the moment. Before her departure, detectives issued a stark warning regarding the potential dangers that loomed over her safety. After 26 long years of relentless pursuit for justice regarding the abandoned baby, the community finally uncovered the identity of the one responsible. And this was a troubling moment for her.
You have to understand, over the last 26 years, this was a very big case. And in that regard, I don't know how you didn't know about it. There's been news stories, newspaper articles, a news story that some of the original investigators, and they maintain that grave stuff. So this is something that is very big in the community. And with that being said, we are concerned for your welfare.
Gail had lived in Euclid for more than 2 decades. Many struggled to accept the reality that she could commit such a horrific crime.
Church-going family, very respectable. She was so nice. I mean, I just don't, I just can't. I don't understand. I just don't understand.
Nearly 3 decades had passed since that fateful event unfolded. In a chilling turn of events, Gail provided a meticulous account of the exact location where she left the baby, yet investigators uncovered no trace of evidence. Yet, Gail's brief taste of freedom came to a sudden halt on June 6, 2019, when she was arrested and faced charges for the murder of Geauga's child.
For the past 26 years, the Geauga County Sheriff's Office has been working very hard to solve a case of Geauga's baby. Today we announce that the case has been solved. Gail Eastwood Ritchie, age 49, of Euclid, Ohio, was indicted for aggravated murder and murder.
Despite the gravity of the 1991 case, she emerged untouched, as the absence of physical evidence meant no charges could be brought against her. Gail stood firm in her innocence, pleading not guilty to the charges against her. The courtroom drama unfolded as her trial commenced on March 31, 2022. The defense presented a strong case asserting that Gail was not responsible for the death of her child, but rather that the infant was stillborn.
She didn't do anything to purposely cause the death. This was a stillborn baby. And under those circumstances, your verdict can only be not guilty.
They argued that the evidence was insufficient for the medical examiner to definitely conclude whether the baby had taken a breath.
There's no description, first of all, of where he took these tissue samples from in the lung. Right. Correct. And there's only one lung here, right? Yes. So if in a typical or routine situation, you would want tissue slides from both lungs, ideally, yes. And so that's another example of what would be either a vague and or incomplete report. True.
In the depths of the interrogation room, Gail's troubled home life arose as a haunting backdrop. She recounted her experiences of verbal abuse at the hands of her father, painting a stark picture of her reality. The defense contended that Gail's choice to leave the baby was rooted in profound fear and a deep-seated lack of self-worth.
It was a very cold household. They would have family dinners and there'd be very little discussion except for her father ranting that no daughter of mine will ever have a child out of wedlock.
The prosecution launched a fierce attack, asserting that Gail was not only culpable for her child's death, but that she cruelly abandoned him as if he were nothing more than an object.
Her actions caused the death of this child. But then finally, you have to look at, for aggravated murder, did the state prove prior calculation and design? What does she do to prepare for the birth? Nothing.
They highlighted that Gail exhibited no remorse, only a sense of embarrassment during the interrogation. She repeatedly referred to her child as it. The trial came to a swift conclusion, wrapping up in just 4 days, with the final verdict delivered on April 4th, 2022. After a mere 5 hours of intense deliberation, the jury delivered their verdict. 51-year-old Gail Eastwood Ritchie was found guilty of murder. On May 24th, 2022, over a month passed, and the verdict was delivered. She was sentenced to life in prison, yet there remained a glimmer of hope for parole after 15 years.
Unable to face and address your own problems and the unwanted consequences your pregnancy might cause, in my opinion, you took the easy way out. You coldly and efficiently eliminated your problem by disposing of the only one who couldn't defend himself. He couldn't yell at you or berate you like you feared your father would. He couldn't leave you or break your heart like your boyfriend might. So I truly struggle to accept the explanation that you were young and afraid and alone. Maybe the first time those factors might explain your conduct, but not the second time. I believe you knew exactly how you could solve your problem with an unwanted pregnancy when Geauga's child came along because you had done it before. Thus, calling you a monster who deserves life imprisonment might not be an unfair exaggeration. What I know is this: your wrongful efforts to conceal what happened in February 1993 did buy you 29 years of normal life where you got the chance to get married, raise children, and do some good works. But ultimately, you gained that time on the back of a helpless infant whose body you concealed in the woods. Ironically, Jaga's child did more for you than you ever did for him, probably.
In the end, even though Giaga's child finally received justice, the wounds in the community will never fully heal. It's hard for them to wrap their heads around the idea that a mother could commit such an act and then go on living a normal life as if nothing happened. Cheryl Jenkins, one of the women who found the baby, expressed how the traumatic event has haunted her throughout her life.
I always think about him. I've never forgot that day. The lady could have dropped that kid on a doorstep, or done something with him, taken him to a church. For me, it stayed with me all my life, and Wendy, it stayed with her all of her life because she couldn't have children.
However, amidst the pain, there's also a different side to the story, one where the community showed the child love and care, something that he never received from his flesh and blood. This heartbreaking case raises important questions about accountability and responsibility. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think Gail was truly helpless to make such a desperate choice? Do you think she took the easy way out, knowing the consequences? Comment below with your thoughts. We want to hear from you. Post a case you want us to cover in the comments below. Subscribe, like, and share our channel for more captivating true crime stories.